What's up, my friend? Today, I really want to talk to you about how to develop your author offer. This is something that I work with many authors on, and it's the most important, most crucial part to marketing. Believe it or not, if you don't have a clear, concise offer as an author, then it's hard to market yourself, your book, your work, your expertise. Everything really builds around this idea. And the way I help people get clear about this is first, we need to take a step back. We need to get some clarity. We need to go for a couple of walks. We need to get our mind wrapped around what is it that I really want? I know that's kind of a selfish question, but if you think about it that way, what is it that I really want at the end of this? Because no matter what you pursue, it's going to take time, energy, resources, money, attention, community, reaching out to people. It's going to be a lot of work. So if you're going to put that kind of work into something, then you have to ask yourself, what is it that this is going to bring me, right? Is it joy from seeing someone else smile going through this? So for me, for example, it's one-on-one coaching, right? But I've developed a whole set of offers around that because the one-on-one coaching for me is genuinely what brings me a lot of joy. Seeing someone get clear, get refined through their strategy. They see the light, they see what's ahead, and they become optimistic. That for me is where my light bulb goes, right? So the other side of that is one to many. When I do that on a bigger scale for speaking, for example, and doing workshops, I see a group of people kind of going through that, but it's a shorter time frame. So with that, I think about, okay, what is my coaching look like? What is it actually? Is it 3 months, 6 months, 10 months, a year? What does my consulting actually do? What's inside? But here's the fun part. So I'm going to share with you right now a document that I basically, um, run my sort of authors through and how to get clear about creating an offer. So the thing we need to do is we need to think about your book, your newsletter, your podcast. Those are the entry level offers that, all of us should have in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be all of these things, but it's a thing that people can discover you, right? It's the first thing of how people are going to discover you, which leads them to your consulting, your speaking, your coaching, or anything else that you offer, right? So here's where we have to define what excites you the most about building around that. Then we talk about positioning, right? So we position your book as an entry point, not the end game. A book isn't the business, it's the trust builder. It opens up doors and creates those credibility opportunities and gives your audience a way to engage with your expertise before committing to a higher level offers, right? However, what I love telling people, this is kind of my favorite part, is when you're thinking about this, is you have to simplify and remove distractions. So many people want to do, a variety of things, right? They want to add so many things to their offer because they think it's not enough. And that comes from a fear or an insecurity that their thing, their coaching, their consulting, whatever it may be, is it's not enough. So for example, if you're a business coach, right, and you wrote an incredible book on business coaching, however, maybe it's an actual one piece of the business that you're incredibly good at. For example, you're the systems person, right? Like you are incredibly good at helping someone develop systems in their business. Now, if you're clear about what kind of businesses you like to help, whether it's tech or the lawn mowing business or anything like that, then we can say, okay, you're the systems guy for these types of businesses. And guess what? People need that stuff. People all over the world need that specific expertise. And for now, that's the stuff you have to deliver. That's the stuff that makes you unique. And so by deciding like, okay, I'm going to cut the distractions, you're actually helping yourself by not cluttering your thinking and overthinking everything. Later down the line, when they want systems in, different parts of the business, you can offer that as well. However, you say, I'm the systems guy for your accounting. I come in, I help all the accounting things get set up. I'm going to lay it all out. And this is how I do it. This is how long it takes me to do it. And that's it. I come to you, I roll up my sleeves, I fly in, I do it over Zoom. What's your thing? So once we do that, obviously not everybody is the opportunity here is not everybody is made. Not everybody's a customer. Not everybody's a client, right? Everybody is a potential client, but we need to create that awareness, right? So we cut what doesn't serve your core offer. It has to be clear. It has to be concise. It has to kind of feed that urge of like, this thing is made for me. So once we get that, then this is what I call like, this is, I think personally, the most important component. If you go out and speak, or if you're a consultant or a coach, right? Or if you do workshops or whatever it is that you decide to do, well, what is it about that thing that's so unique that only you would have come up with that? For example, I have a friend of mine who does, team workshops, and we kind of bounced around this idea of beach balls. I don't know why that came up, but we were talking about beach balls. We were talking about like how, maybe during her talk, she bounces it around, or maybe she has several beach balls. Maybe they're in different sizes. Maybe there's a whole metaphor in her workshop around that, right? And there's just something about the beach ball that creates this memorable experience. So in order to create a memorable experience in your offer, we have to think about not only what makes you unique, and you have to really lean into that, right? But also what heightens the senses. So how do you embed an emotion in the senses, right? So like, what does it taste like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like emotionally and physically, right? If we think about those things, then from that point, we can say, well, I want it to sound like this. I want it to feel like this. I want it to, when you see it, I want you to see this specific element, whatever it may be. Is it tangible? Is it, digital? Whatever it is it unique, that it's memorable? Maybe you do it outside. I was telling my friend, maybe you do it in the forest. Maybe you do it at the beach. What are these workshops and what are they actually trying to do? And how does your memorable experience, even in your coaching program, right? How does your memorable experience create that for those individuals? And when you really think about that and make that the heart of what you do, and you really hone in and focus on that deeply, you start to think about ways you can really be unique. And guess what? That's the thing people talk about. That's the very thing people will remember. That's the very thing that people will share and want to talk about with other people. That becomes your social currency. So I tell people all the time, like, how can you embed a memorable experience within your service that then is a part of your service, right? But that's the main thing. Then we go into pricing and naming your event, your speaking, your consulting, your coaching packages, whatever they are. When you think about branding them in that way, when you think about the offer as it in of itself a product that people want to talk about, right? Even though it's a service, then that too becomes memorable. That too becomes interesting as to how you approach it, right? And so when you create that emotion with the heightened senses, with something memorable, now there's something sticky about what you're doing. You're thinking about it like an artist. You're thinking about it like a creative person approaching an experience. So when I walk through IKEA, it's an experience. When I walk through a museum, it's an experience, and it's an invite. When I go to sign up to your service, your coaching, consulting, when I hire you to speak, what kind of experience am I going to have? And that is what's interesting. People want something interesting. I know I do. I'm pretty sure you do too. However, when you're thinking about your offer, you have to think about, this is more than my book. Of course, there's going to be elements from your book embedded in your talk, embedded in your coaching, embedded in whatever it is that you're doing. That's fine. Of course, you wrote the book about it. However, besides giving the people copies of your book, what else is sticky? What else is going to be memorable? What else is going to be fun and interesting to talk about long after you're gone, right? And so I come up with all kinds of different things. However, I've done things like, you write yourself, you future yourself a letter. We've done things where we do screen printing of t-shirts and posters. We've done all kinds of different things that help take that experience and sort of lightly ingrain it in the memory bank so that they leave with something tangible and real, but also something that they can talk about with other people, right? So, I did this thing at this event and it was so fun and it reminded me of XYZ, right? That's what we want to create here. And even in my coaching, even in my consulting, I try to think about that. I try to think about, what's something interesting, what's something funny I can bring to the table today. I try to send my people and clients boxes of different kinds of things, whether it's my book or other books or t-shirts or hats. How do I make working with me fun, interesting, in a unique way to not only deliver my deliverables, but go above and beyond? That's an offer, right? And then when I price this, I'm not pricing it based on time. I'm not pricing this based on, just my expertise. I'm pricing it based on the value of the experience that this person is going to receive while working with me. And that's how I want you to think about this, right? Some people want to charge per hour. And I say, time is irrelevant when it comes to this stuff, right? Because there are people out there that charge $20,000 to speak for an hour. Well, what are they doing that makes it cost that much, right? Maybe they have tons of expertise. Maybe their niche is so powerful that that's what they get to charge. Maybe they've just been doing it for a long time and they've been in the circuit, right? That's not the point. The point is, what can you charge for yours now? And how can you up that game every time you get to do that thing? And so then naming your offer is the next, like my favorite thing, right? Is really like, sharpening the naming and messaging, right? So it's like, what is this actually? What is this actually meaning? Is like, is this emotional, right? Is this fast, easy, quick, all those things? That's the generic stuff. But what if it has the word power? What if it has the word love? What if it has the words that aren't necessarily being used right now? What is something unique? I have another author, and he uses the words, the power of cambio, which is beautiful, which is the power of change. So, but he uses cambio as something that he's targeting young Latino professionals with, right? And that's his target audience, right? But, this idea of using a word, a name, a thing that doesn't necessarily have to be vague, but it needs to be sharp and clear to the right person, right? So when you're thinking about naming and messaging, you need to think about that experience that they're going to have, the result that they're going to walk away with. That's something that has been really powerful for me. I call my thing the marketing power pack. Super simple, right? But then there's Pro, Boost, and Ultra. When I love that, and honestly, I kind of stole that from Apple, but I love that because it's simple. It's really the same thing, just expanded, and it makes it memorable, right? That's what I was trying to do. It's simple, it's memorable, and to the point. And that's what you can create here. It could be one thing repeated over time with a little bit of an adjustment on it, right? So then when I started doing my first set of offers is I sent it out to like a handful of people who would potentially sign up. And honestly, 2 out of the 7 people that I sent this to signed up. But each person helped me refine it a little bit more, helped me refine the wording, helped me refine what they actually wanted instead of what I thought they wanted. And that helped me get my offer to a place where I was then able to take it and offer it to many different types of people who were all interested and got the attention. Now, some people were able to afford it. Some people, it was kind of the wrong timing. And some people were ready to join right away. And that's fantastic. So the testing, refining, and getting real feedback is crucial. This is where you have to put your ego aside. This is where you have to get very clear and tell yourself that, like, okay, this is not about me, about my ego, and about, it's about who I'm serving. What kind of experience can I deliver to them? What is actually necessary? And this is what's cool. It helps you chop what's unnecessary and add on the right things that matter to the people you're trying to support. So the way I think about offers for authors, ones who are, authorpreneurs, who are thinking about creating something or already have something, but no one wants to bite on it. No one's like, excited to come to it. Well, then I say, well, let's take a look at it. And instead of creating something new and another thing that's new and all these new things that never go anywhere, we say, well, let's take this thing and make it better. How do I make this thing better and make it better for the person I really want to serve? The problem with many entrepreneurs that I discover is that they're trying to serve too many avatars. They're just trying to serve too many different types of people. And they don't think that the one thing that they can focus on is actually enough. And that again goes back to some insecurities, some fears around that. And so I highly recommend that when you think about your entrepreneur offer, you get very clear about not only who's it for, but also what's the thing that I really, really want to do, and cut the fluff, right? I just had an author go, you know what? After a month and a half of working and clarifying his offer, he decided he wants to just speak. That's his thing. That's what lights him up. That's what gives him joy. That's the thing that like fills his soul. And so we cut the coaching. We cut everything else and just focused on that. And that's what we're going to sort of package and build his whole brand around, is his speaking. And so when we get very clear about what it is we really want to do, it actually makes everything easier. He even said, it's like the whole world lifted off my shoulders. I even felt it. He didn't have that tension anymore. And I can see the clarity coming through. So with that, a great offer is pure clarity, and great marketing is clear communication. So with that, if you need some support with this stuff, just visit my website, rising-authors.com. You can book a call with me. It's about a 30-minute conversation. Happy to talk about your offers, where you're stuck. But please take a look at the website. If this is something you want to do, I help authors every day. This wasn't meant to be a sales pitch. It was just that a lot of people do get stuck here, and they may just need a little nudge one way or another. And honestly, I've done those on calls. So if you're interested, go to rising-authors.com. Other than that, I hope this newsletter and I hope this video helps you out. Take care. Peace.